Hello, 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 hello.
Hello.
Man, you haven't been scared in like 2 months. It's kind of disappointing.
You know, it may not have looked like it right there. It was a little bit of a jump scare.
See, that's not enough. I like the big ones. The big ones that really throw you off. But we've been doing this weekly now. You're used to it now. It is what it is. I'm going to start by prefacing. We didn't obviously do this on Wednesday. Very obvious reasons. Yeah, dark times ahead. Blah, blah, blah,
Alexa,
blah.
Alexa, play I Hate It Here by Taylor Swift, please. Yeah, like Blake said, we kind of prepared for that ahead of time. I figured no matter which way it went, it's obviously a very tense time. Win or lose, which way it goes for us in America. So we thought maybe it wasn't the best day to be talking about video games. And that turned out to be the right choice for us. I don't think either one of us were in a state on Wednesday to be talking about video games and be fun and entertaining people for you.
Nope. Emotional wrecks. But yeah, it was fine. Everything is fine. We move forward. I will be listening to Despacito before I go to sleep tonight.
I'm not getting the connection on that one.
It's the sad people play when they're sad. Even though it's not an actual sad song, I think it actually is, but it sounds happy. I don't know, but that was like a meme from like 2017. Now.
I forgot about it.
Yeah, that was like the whole thing. So yeah, that's what we did. If you're on YouTube too, if you're wondering like I didn't get my episode on Friday, that's because this is being streamed on Friday, so you're gonna get it tomorrow.
A couple days late. In case you didn't hear, there were worldwide political events going on.
Are you sure? I don't think that's right. That doesn't sound right.
Okay, you know what? Like you said, we move forward. Some of us are taking mental breakdown trips to Paris. Some of us are doing the best we can. It's all good. It's all good.
It's all fine. Everything's fine.
Everything's fine. It will be great for me in about a month when I'm eating a croissant.
God, I want to. Well, actually, no. I bought Allison croissants this morning. I bought her. Oh,
you never get me croissants. Is the thing. You and Allison always get croissants, and you guys never share any.
If you come here, I'll get you a croissant. But if you come here, are you gonna want a croissant or are you gonna want a beignet? Let's be real.
That's a ridiculous question because of course I want a beignet.
I know. So why are you complaining? Because I get you a beignet every time you come here.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what? Actually, it's funny story. I go this specific pastry shop. They're cash only or Venmo. So I go in and I pay by Venmo because I never carry cash. And they know my name because of my Venmo now. And I go in Thursday, Fridays
Really
because
funny.
that's the day Allison. This time I walk in, the lady who owns it, her name's Miss Kim, sweet, sweet lady. She goes, Blake, I'm going to adopt you at this point. I keep feeding you every week. I said, Miss Kim, please do.
I like when you become regular somewhere, like when people just know you. My team goes to lunch every Friday at the same place. And finally, after like 5 years, because they all get beers when we go out, and I never get beer. I find it disgusting, whatever. But I always get a root beer. And we've gotten to the point now where we come and she like brings out the waters and instantly just sets down like 2 root beers in front of me. And I'm like, I've done it. I'm known. Somebody in this world knows me, and it's the waitress.
My parents are that they go to the same sushi spot every Friday. It's not for me. I don't. The sushi spot they go to gives me a stomach ache for some reason. But besides the point, they go there every Friday and they have the same order. They sit my parents at the same table every Friday, and they already know. They're like same thing. They're like yes, and they already put it in. They already have it memorized.
I love that. I need to start being a regular at more places. I need to get people to like know me better and be like, Emily, I know what you're getting today.
This is the last thing I'll say about this. There was one time I didn't like it because most of the time I'm like, yeah, I like that kind of situation. This one place Allison likes it's a Vietnamese no, it's a Thai place. Sorry, and I pick her up her fresh spring rolls with chicken.
Yeah,
and I went multiple times in a like 2-week period, and the second time, like the second last time I went, and the lady's no longer there, but second last time I saw her, she's like, "Oh, you come here a lot." I'm like, "Don't say that. That makes me feel like I have a problem, even though this is not even for me." Like, don't call me out like that.
There was something. It can feel like an attack, right? Like, so remember when Taco Bell only used to have nacho fries like once in a blue moon?
They still only do them once in a blue moon.
Well, they've had them more regularly for us now, but like there was a time where it maybe like once a year or something like that. And so when they had the nacho fries, I'd like to go get the nacho fries because I was like, they might not be here tomorrow. And so my dog was with me in the car most of the time. And one time I pulled up, and the lady in the window looked at my dog and she goes, "Oh, she got a haircut." And I was like, I can never come here again. Never come here again.
Don't speak my name.
You knew my dog well enough to tell that her hair had been cut is telling me I'm eating way too much Taco Bell, and I like stopped going.
Moral of the story: shout out Miss Kim at the pastry shop that I will not name because I don't want to dox myself. I don't think you're watching this, Miss Kim, but you are now my second mother. You wonderful human. So
love Miss Kim.
We love Miss Kim. Anywho, we have first and foremost, I want to say what this episode is, because you probably are looking at the title and you're like, he already reviewed Metaphor. I didn't. We rushed it. I didn't have a lot of time because the Mario Party review took so long. Emily had things to do. We were
having like an hour and a half of podcast at that point.
And the reason we decided to do it again was, first and foremost, Life is Strange, True Color. Is it True Colors is the one that just came out?
No. True Colors is the one that it's Double Exposure.
Yeah, you tell the story.
So originally this was meant to be a Life is Strange Double Exposure review, and I was going to be covering that, which is why we pushed so hard for Blake to cover Metaphor Refantazio in the last episode, because we knew we had something else coming up this week. I ended up not getting and don't plan on reviewing Life is Strange Double Exposure for a little bit of time. I heard some things. Quite frankly, I've heard that the game is pretty rough. It's pretty buggy. There's a lot of really big story issues with it, but more importantly, the platinum for the game and a few other things are paywalled behind a $30 cat DLC. And quite frankly, friends, that's not something I really feel the need to spend $60 of my money on at the moment, especially since I also purchased Dragon Age Veilguard on the same day, which I have been devoting a ton of time and effort to. I'm in love, spoiler. So, yes, originally this week was meant to be Life is Strange Double Exposure, but we are going to push that back to a day where the game is cheap and I spend little money on it, or until they improve the game or de-paywall or whatever. Yeah. I feel like it's a game and a company I want to get my money to.
I think at this point, what is it? Still Square Enix? Because I know Square
It's
Enix.
Square Enix, but the first few were made by Don't Nod.
But they were
And
published by Square Enix.
yes, this one though was made by a different company.
Did they still does Square Enix still publish it or no?
I believe so. I believe Square Enix still publishes.
I hope not, because that's real. Here's the thing. That's the kind of stuff that I want to like, I want to boycott.
Yeah. Deck 9 made Life is Strange, and it was still published by Square Enix.
A double exposure paywall. Yeah. It's frustrated by early access. That's early access stuff. Besides the point. Until that paywall's gone, I'm not gonna even look at it or touch it. Even if the game becomes dirt cheap and it's $2 a pop, I'm not paying $2 a pop just to get a platinum. Like, if I buy your game, I should be able to get a platinum. DLC trophies are separate for a reason.
I completely agree. So, yeah, we're not purchasing it at the moment if it becomes cheaper or if they de-paywall things. Again, like Blake said, DLC is very different. Or if it was like $3 for this cat thing, but I think it's a pretty decent chunk of change for this cat thing. So, it's not something we really feel like we need to be supporting at this moment, especially with how expensive video games already are without adding extra paywall in there. So
you're telling me.
We felt Blake deserved a second go at talking about Metaphor Refantazio because it's such a big game. It's been such a popular game. He spent so much time playing it, and he's made a lot of progress since his last review as well. So we're gonna give him.
Oh, I finished it. I finished it. Last review.
We're gonna give him his proper time, and we're gonna give the game its due.
Before we get into all that, of course, we have to talk about what we're playing in the news. Emily already mentioned she's putting all of her time into Veilguard. Veilguard review coming. She told me next week, which I will be shocked if she's ready next week.
You guys, when we originally made our schedule, I gave myself 2 weeks to play this game, and I don't think I'm gonna need it. And quite honestly, it hasn't even been like, oh, I gotta sit down and play it for podcast. I started this game, and from the moment I started this game, I am 1,000% in it. It is like, I can't wait to get home from work to open up this game and play it. I can't wait for the weekend, so I have more time to play this game. And my best friends are playing it. It probably also helps like that my best friends are playing it at the moment, right? So we're all playing this game together, and there's a lot of choices involved in the game. So everyone's messaging, oh, what do you think of this choice? What choice did you make? And you can romance people. So it's, who are you romancing? What did you think of this interaction between these two characters? So I think it's also just a great game I'm enjoying, but it's also something I'm doing with my friends, which always makes it a better experience as well. So that's what I'm playing at the moment.
I separately, one Mario and Luigi Brothership came out yesterday, which me and my brother ship will be starting to stream every Sunday until the review on January 6th. December 6th.
It's not January 6th. Let's not make this more political than it already is. Secondly, I thought when you said I'm playing it with my brother, pause, Chip, I thought you said brother Chip. And I was like, why are we pretending your brother's name is Chip?
No.
What a weird way to like avoid naming him. I didn't think it was a secret. I didn't know if he was uncomfortable with being named. How odd, but I was gonna let you have it, and then my brain caught up like 3 seconds later that you had said brother Ship. And you know what? I still think it's a dumb name.
Yes. Allison said the same thing. Me and my brother agree it's a dumb name. I did get cool my pre-order bonus came with 2 cool keychains. You got a Mario and Luigi keychain, so Blaine took the Luigi and I had the Mario one.
Stop, wait, that's really cute.
Me and my brother are hella close. Just if you guys don't already know, like me and my brother are like super tight.
Gentlemen, put it in the logbooks. Blake Mater has said the word hella in the year 2024.
I have been saying it for years. Where have you been?
No, I just thought it would have died by now.
Oh, hell no.
I was going to say the year of our Lord 2024, but we simply know it cannot be the year of our Lord.
I mean, that's the truth. I don't want to live here anymore. Anywho,
Alexa, play I Hate It Here by Taylor Swift.
the other thing I'm playing, because I mentioned this last time, I lost a bet about the World Series, and so I'm playing Final Fantasy 16, and goddamn, it's good. Like I'm happy, and I haven't been happy about Final Fantasy since 10. Since I mean, you would count remake and rebirth, sure, but Final Fantasy 10 is like the last new one that really impressed me and did well in my brain.
So you're liking 16?
It's actually really it's incredible. Like I'm talking, you would like it incredible.
We'll see, buddy. That feels like a big leap.
I know.
But
Well, you got to remember every Final Fantasy game is different and is not connected and has different play styles. So I keep that in mind.
fair. Okay, you're right. That's fair.
Yes.
That is a fair. I haven't played a lot of Final Fantasy, so I guess I can't be too outspoken about how I think I would enjoy it. I've only played like a handful of hours into 10.
I will say this: 16 is the prettiest Final Fantasy I've ever seen in my entire life.
Oh, I'm in. Sold.
It is gorgeous.
Pretty games.
I will say this, and this is specifically a Square Enix problem because I only notice it in Square Enix games. We make fun of it for Kingdom Hearts all the time with Sticker Face. Cutscenes for Final Fantasy games, beautiful, gorgeous. For some reason, not cutscene faces. They look stale. They look like so uncomfortable all the time. That's my only complaint about it so far.
If you guys aren't familiar with what Blake and I are talking about with like the Kingdom Hearts sticker face, go look up like a transition between like a Kingdom Hearts cutscene and in gameplay, because when they go into a cutscene, the characters' faces are animated and they move
Most of the time.
And then most of the time, they have like 3 different levels. They have like a fully animated cutscene. Actually, no, that's true. They have like 4. They have like holy shit anime beautiful cutscene that they reserve for the very beginning and end of the game. Then they have like an actual cutscene they put effort and work into. And then they have like a cutscene where none of the voice actors talk and they just get like dialogue bubbles. And like your character's eyes don't emote in any way, shape, or form. Their mouth just kind of moves up and down. And then when you enter the actual gameplay, it's like the quality of the facial features and the quality of the face just goes down to basically look like somebody stuck a sticker on the character. It's pretty bad.
Last thing I'll say about Final Fantasy 16 is so every Final Fantasy has a character called Sid, and Sid has a myriad of different things. Like in Final Fantasy 7, he is a party member, but he also is like your travel. He helps you get around the map.
Hearts, right? That's the same Sid?
Yeah, that Sid in Kingdom Hearts is the same Sid as Final Fantasy 7. That is that version of Sid. But every Final Fantasy, I think since Final Fantasy 2, Final Fantasy 1 didn't have one, but I think 2 and on all have their own version of Sid. They did something with Sid I never expected. Final Fantasy 15 gave us the worst Sid I've ever seen. Final Fantasy 7 is a classic.
Why?
Oh, I'm going to show what was in the second.
Okay.
First, I'm going to show the classic Sid. So it will pop up because I know you have stream up. This is classic Sid. Everyone knows him. It is. This is Final Fantasy 15 Sid. So the one before the one that just came out. This is Final Fantasy 15 Sid. And he's a car mechanic. And he's horrible.
He's so old. What like evil witch came by and sucked his youth out to like keep her beauty eternal? He really like he got mummy like the mummy came by. Emotep paid him a visit and sucked his soul out.
And then this, of course, is his assistant because, of course, she is.
No, see here, I love the contrast that he gets a full pants. He gets pants and a full zip up top, and then a jacket on top of the pants, and then gloves, and then a hat. And she's like, "What if I had the shortest pair of shorts and a half zipped up? Can't even call it half, like quarter zipped up sweatshirt and nothing else."
Yeah, boobs all out.
I can't. Final Fantasy, like, it just makes me so livid.
That's Square Enix in general. That is anime games in general. Hold on. Yeah, that's not. Persona 5 did the same thing to On, even though it's technically part of her story. But besides the point.
And it's not even like close.
I know.
To this.
I know. But Final Fantasy 16 gave us the hottest man I have ever seen in a Final Fantasy game.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait to see.
This is Final Fantasy 16, Sid.
Really? No, So here's what happened. All right, you had a normal man in Final Fantasy 15, right? Wait,
In
no,
seven,
so
in seven,
seven.
yeah.
You had like a normal man in Final Fantasy 7, and then what happened? The like I said, the witch came along and she sucked out all his youth and his beauty, and she gave it to herself to be eternal, or maybe it's a he. And that's what you get in Final Fantasy 15 is this like I'm about to die because my soul and spirit and youth got sucked out of me. And then this isn't the real Sid. This is like this is the witch or the wizard who sucked the youth out and put it into them, and this is what they are. This is the wizard combined with Sid's youth.
You can't even say
Look
he's
at
not the
him.
prettiest man you've ever seen in a
No,
Final
he's beautiful. He's beautiful. Absolutely. Like, is he romanceable?
No, I don't know if there is a romance. No, there's predetermined romances usually in Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy X
So
is
much
Tidus Yuna.
wasted.
I think
Absolutely. Wait, why would they put so much time and effort into making such a beautiful man?
I mean,
Like, wow.
this is your character in Final Fantasy 16. You're Clive.
My name is
Clive.
I mean, he's nice looking, but like, how embarrassing to be standing next to Sid and be like the protagonist in your own game, and that's who you have to stand next to.
Not being this man.
Yeah, like, he's good.
The person I lost the bet to, and she's gonna watch this listen to our podcast on the way to work. She's gonna hear this, and she's gonna be like, "I told him so." She told me this is the best Sid of all time.
He's really good. He is very, very good.
But yeah, I thought that important to share.
Thank you. It's like the Chris Redfield complex. Have you seen Chris Redfield throughout the years?
No.
So
I saw sevens.
One, he's a normal looking man. And then they bring him back in 5 and they make him like boulder punching large. Like he literally punches a boulder and breaks it. Like biggest man on earth, biggest biceps you've ever seen.
Yeah.
And then in 7, they're like, what if we de-aged him? And they make him look like he's 20 years old. And he's like normal sized and blonde for some reason. And then everyone got really upset because they're like, who the heck is this man?
Yeah.
And then they're like, okay, forget it. And then in Resident Evil 8, he's once again boulder punching large, but also kind of still blonde and also a lot older.
Yeah, that tracks. Now I think,
Character designs, they can't keep him straight.
I will make this abundantly clear. Every Sid in every Final Fantasy is a different person. Like they're not all the same. They just all there's always a Sid. You always have your Sid. It's like the Deadpool movie, which I don't think you saw yet.
They're all named Sid?
Yes, CID. They're all named Sid.
Okay.
Yeah,
If they're like actually different characters, I'd be like, well, that's one thing. But if they're all technically Sid,
they're all named Sid. They're different people and they have different functions, but there's always a Sid in every Final Fantasy since 2.
Weird. It's weird. I don't know how I feel about it.
It's such a staple that I come to always look forward to seeing who Sid is now. Except for 15's drastically disappointed me. 15 also is a game that drastically disappointed me.
You can't just hate men, Blake. You can't just hate a game because they gave you the old man and not the hot one.
They gave me the old redneck man next to the young redneck woman who wants to flaunt it all.
Well, yeah, because women don't age, Blake. They can't.
Women don't age and women don't poop. That's the 2 things you got to know for sure. Okay, let's jump into quick news and then we'll get into this actual full review nonstop until we drop. Yeah.
Sounds like a lot. I think I might drop sooner rather than later. It's been a long week.
Yeah, it has. First and foremost, Nintendo released their own music app called Nintendo Music. You can jam.
I forgot about that. I blocked that out. There was a lot going on, and I was like, no, I don't not now, Nintendo. I don't need this right now.
It is free. It's technically free. It's part of your Nintendo Online membership. You download on your phone, you just log in, you have it, and you can listen to a bunch of video game music. So if you like your Animal Crossing music, you can just listen to that in your car. It's there on the app. It's wonderful.
I'm not on Spotify before?
I think it is already on Spotify, but I don't know that for sure. Not all video game soundtracks are on Spotify. So I've enjoyed it. I think I don't see why they don't just add it to Spotify.
Because it's Nintendo. It's
Right.
another incentive to get people to buy the membership is if you want to listen to our music, you have to have a membership.
Well,
So
here
therefore,
that's the thing. So if you don't have the membership, you can still get it. I think it's the same price as Spotify, but the value proposition is not. No, it's cheaper than Spotify because it's $10 a month versus
well,
whoever
there you
knows.
go.
Yeah,
It's either pay us $10, or get our membership. So
yeah,
either way, they're making money off of it.
exactly. The value proposition is not there because there's not nearly as music as there is on Spotify. Plus, on Spotify, I get remixes of all those Nintendo songs, anyways.
You
So
can get the vibe.
yeah, exactly. So that's just a little neat little thing they did. I get it because I am a Nintendo Switch Online member because I want to play Mario Kart with my friends in Mario Party.
I get
So
it for the Animal Crossing expansion pack.
you know what? Valid.
It's so good. It's so good.
Next for shocking news, very shocking news, is that a lot more people are buying the PS5 Pro than I initially expected. This is just first. I haven't.
You know what? We can't anticipate what people are going to do. We think people aren't going to do something, and then a lot more people do something we don't think they're going to do.
Now, granted, this is just my first eyewitness account of it, not like actual numbers. And the only reason I say that is because when I went to go pick up Brothership yesterday, I had to wait behind 5 different people trading in their PS5s for PS5 Pros. And I'm like, that is far more than I expected on launch day of PS5 Pro.
People are wild. They know the Switch 2 is coming, right?
Yeah. What did I? You can sort by characters. Oh, for Nintendo Music, you can sort by character stuff and think they're extended loops. And yeah, sorry, we didn't read. We're also reading chat. We haven't been reading chat. We're bad. I'm sorry. Sorry, G. We love you.
Dude, that's wild to me to like be paying more money to get a Pro at this point when there's another gaming console coming out probably within the next year.
Not even just that. Like the numbers for performance of PS5 Pro versus PS5 Pro versus PS5 are not that crazy of a difference. Like, yes, you're
Not that big of an upgrade.
yeah, like yes, they're better, but not a $200 price difference better. It's not, and plus you don't get a disk drive and you don't get a stand.
Like, do you not have a single digital game? Because if so, you're rendering like your $70 purchase useless.
Exactly. A lot of people thought if they did that, they could play 4K at 60 FPS. That is still not consistent. And
People are wild.
I don't need 4K. I just need it to run good. So that's it. That's the end of that sentence.
I saw something today. It's not real news.
Okay.
But I saw something today that said new studies reveal that Mario Kart is officially the most stressful game because it raises players' average heart rates by the largest amount.
Yeah. You know what? I buy it.
More stressful than horror games.
Is Mario Party more stressful or Mario Kart?
Mario Kart is definitely more stressful.
I don't know. Mario Party gets stressful at the end.
Mario Party get at the end, sure, but it's also like Mario Party is like a slow burn of anger. Like you're fine 1 minute, and then the next minute you think someone's gonna steal your star, and you sit there on your couch like simmering in anger, like thinking to yourself, I can't actually fight them because they're my friend, and this is just a stupid video game. But at the same time, I want to punch them in the face so hard. Whereas like Mario Kart is this anxious experience of I'm in first, holy shit, I have to get to the finish line before someone overtakes me, and you're like heart pounding. I have to get there. I have to get there. I have to get there.
That's every time me and Emily play, FYI.
Most of the time, it doesn't work out well. I'm slowly making a comeback, but still behind.
TBH, I don't even think my eyesight is even good enough for 4K 60 FPS. To be fair, the human eye, I do not believe can see better than 4K or faster than 60 FPS. So there's that. Final bit of news. The last bit of news I have is a pretty big one. One, it's a two-parter. One, Nintendo isn't rushing out the announcement of Switch 2, which
boring.
Yeah,
rush it. I need something right now in my life, Nintendo. You gave me Animal Crossing at the start of the pandemic. I need something in my life, Nintendo. Give me something.
Which crashed their stock prices, not surprisingly. But the good news, they did give us a tidbit of information about Switch 2, and it is backwards compatible. Huzzah.
I knew that.
No, it was never confirmed. It is officially confirmed now. But the thing that's not confirmed is it only digital games are backwards compatible, or are the physical cartridges going to be backwards compatible?
It better be both. I don't understand the point. Why would they not just have like this is something I never understood between like the Wii and the GameCube and the N64, and I get it's like technology changed and developed. Why have disc this big, then have disc this big? Why
Oh,
have disc this and then why have like just
oh,
make one thing. I like there's not such a jump between the Switch and the Switch 2 that you can't use the exact same cartridge shape and size to be able to put Switch 1 games into the Switch 2.
they'll probably pull what they did with the 3DS versus the DS. The 3DS has it's the same size, but they put a little extra tab so you couldn't put a 3DS game in a DS because it won't run. Right. So they'll probably do something similar with Switch 2 games where they will not fit in a regular Switch, but they'll fit in a Switch 2, and the Switch games will fit in a Switch 2. If I had to guess. So some kind of extra tab or
I
something.
better be able to play my physical games on the Switch too.
Yes,
At some
I
point. Also,
agree.
just like obligatory, where the frick is Wind Waker on the Switch? And also, we're almost to 2025, Nintendo. It's been 5 years since the last Animal Crossing, and I haven't heard anything new. TikTok, man, TikTok.
More importantly, we're almost at the 8-year Switch anniversary. This is a long life of a console, especially coming off the shortest life of a console we've ever seen. Other than the Dreamcast, the Wii U, which only lasted 3 years, was only on the shelves for 3 years.
It was just bad.
The Dreamcast was discontinued after a year, so there's no beating that. But cool. Like we already talked about, I'm going to be reviewing Metaphor Refantazio for real this time. Slight spoiler warning, I'm not going to spoil major plot points, but I'm going to spoil characters, and I'm going to spoil some themes, but I'm not spoiling major plot points or twists or anything like that.
Okay. I could at the end just say like, "Oh, spoilers starting here."
Yeah. If you want to, if M wants to hear big spoilers, I'll do big spoilers at the end. But if you don't want to hear any minor spoilers or anything like that, and you plan on playing this game, okay, bye, skedaddle, come back later if you play the game, okay, bye. But actually do make sure you come back. Also, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're at 55 subs on there. I want to be at 100 by the end of the year, and I know that's a big ask, but please.
That's a bold move, bold ask.
Hi, Casey. Okay.
All right. Like, tell me, what is Metaphor Refantazio?
Metaphor Refantazio.
What is it?
Okay, Metaphor Refantazio essentially is a game about. Let me start from the premise of how it works, and then how it translates to the story.
What style game is it? How does it run? Like,
if you played an Atlas game, you kind of played Metaphor, but it also Metaphor is similar enough to all Atlas games that you know it's an Atlas game, but it's independent enough to you can tell it's not one of the other Atlas games, if that makes sense. Like, you can tell Atlas pulled from their other they pulled from Soul Hacker, they pulled from Persona, they pulled from SMT. However, they still have made this distinctly its own thing, right? At the same time, the way mechanics work, the way your powers work, MP management is still the worst thing on the planet, but that's how the game is supposed to go.
It's the way it goes.
So it's familiar, but also different enough to not feel like a copy and paste, which I think is perfect. I think when you're creating a new IP, especially if you're trying to make what everyone's calling Atlas's third pillar, because they have Shin Megami Tensei as their one pillar, Persona is their second pillar. They need that third pillar, which this is probably going to be their third pillar now. You need it to be familiar enough to where it's not going to stray people away and people are going to be interested, but different enough to, be different from the other things that you have on
Yeah,
display.
there's no point in just making it a second Persona 6.
Correct.
It needs to be its own.
So essentially the story revolves a young boy who is from the Elder tribe, and we'll talk about tribes later, but I'll just mention right now he is from the Elder tribe, and a little fairy named Gallica, and your whole goal is to save the prince who has been cursed, and in the process try to remove the curse so he can take his rightful place to become the king. There's a lot of twists, there's a lot of turns in the way. One thing I will say that the game does very well from the beginning, this game straight up tells you who the main villain is at the beginning. They're like, this is the guy, this is the villain, a guy named Luis. You find out within the opening seconds that this guy is the worst. and he's a terrible, terrible person and has done terrible, terrible things, and his vision is awful. But at the same time,
his vision like for what he wants for the world, or his vision like his eyesight?
No, his vision for what he wants for the world. I mean, he's blind because he thinks what he wants is the right thing, I guess.
That was deep.
God damn it. You know he's the bad guy. This is why I think I appreciate the story so much, is they tell you this is the guy, this is your whole goal, is to make sure he doesn't become the king and he gets taken down at the same time you need to save the prince. But they throw in enough twists to like take you off your toes. Your goal is still the same, but you're like, oh shit, what? No way. That's crazy, dude.
That sounds very good. I just would like to point out real quick, and this isn't me saying this to make fun of you. I just thought it was really funny. You said, instead of saying keep you on your toes, you said take you off your toes.
Did I?
Yes, which is like really funny to me. Like the more I think about it, like the idea is like, you're supposed to be kept on your toes, like you're ready to like jump, but it takes you off your toes, so you're gone. You're like in space. I don't know where you're going.
I think it was a mix of take your breath away and keep you on your toes.
You know what? I liked it. Starting out like a level above keep you on your toes, because like I said, keep you on your toes, you're like on your tiptoes. In my opinion, that's how it sounds. Like you're ready to go. You have to like be like ready for anything. You don't know what's going to be around the corner. Take you off your toes. Your feet aren't on the ground anymore. You've ascended. Like you're going into the beyond because so much is happening and you're so surprised by it.
Okay, so
yeah, you're so, Casey, you're so right. Swept you off your feet. Nah, man, take you off your toes.
At the beginning of the game, all the game shows you at the beginning of the game in the first opening cutscenes, and if you want to try the game, play the demo, you'll see the same cutscene. You see Luis kill the king in his sleep, which is insane to begin with. You cut away to a wagon with your character, the Elden boy, who looks like the protagonist from Persona 3, but we won't go there. And Gallica with other people on there. And notably one of your future companions named Hulkenberg, all sitting on this wagon. You get pulled over by bandits. These bandits attack you.
So sorry.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry to interrupt you. Are you describing the opening cutscene to Skyrim?
No, because you're not sleeping and no one says, oh, you're finally awake. Everyone like, travels.
It's giving Skyrim vibes of like, then cut to a wagon. You're on the wagon. Other people are on the wagon. Your future companion's on the wagon. You're going to.
You have no future companion on the wagon in Skyrim.
Yeah, one dude was like, you're finally awake, and then you get to watch him die.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'll let you continue on. The whole time you were describing it, I was just thinking about the Skyrim opening.
Anyway, you're on the way to the great city, the grand capital. They call it Grand Trad. Okay. And your goal there, of course, is to figure out, you're trying to meet a contact because your contact knows who cursed the prince. Well, thinks he knows who cursed the prince. You sneak into the royal army. You go on a mission that the royal army engineered to go wrong and to have all these soldiers die except for the people at head by the giant monster, which we'll talk about them later.
Dragon.
It is not a dragon. There are dragons, but it's not a dragon.
Thomas the Tank Engine.
I think there's probably a mod for that. You would have been closer if you said the Giving Tree.
The Giving Tree?
Anywho, you know what? Fine. We'll talk about the first dungeon. Like, the game throws you into your first dungeon. It's a tutorial dungeon, but it's significantly shorter than Persona 5's tutorial dungeon of Kamoshida's Palace. And there are two sects of enemies. There are monsters, your generic Atlas monsters, which are less egregious except for the snakes that have balls for their chin. They watched Men in Black, saw the bald chinians once, and are like, yep, that's it. That's our monster. Other than that, way less egregious. The second type of enemy is something called a human. Gas.
Clip that right there. Clip that right there. The second type of enemy, humans.
Mm-hmm. You find out why way later on. I'm not going to spoil that.
That
Yes,
humans are bad? I mean, I don't know if you need to spoil it.
humans are very horrific looking beings. Most of them you can tell have a face, and they have like people characteristics, like just like a human type face with a weird. One of them, this one specifically, has a human face but has tree branch arms and has apples that are growing off them, and has knives for feet. Like, he's horrifying to look at. There's one that's just a giant baby with sharp teeth.
You're looking at the right thing.
Show me in Discord. They all look different. No human looks the same. I mean,
Why are they called humans?
I can't tell you without spoiling. We'll talk about that in the heavy spoiler section of the episode at the end. We'll talk about it. That one is also a human. It has like a human type face. That is that's probably the second. I would say that's the first major boss, but second big boss that you fight.
Okay, can you show chat what I just sent you?
Yeah,
Please,
yeah.
so everyone else can see horrifically what these things look like.
You can look at Sid for a second while I fix this. Yeah, this is the human. This is one of the first bosses you fight.
He's horrible to look at.
Yeah.
It's just the thing.
But
he looks like he's sticking his butt out at me, but like his butt's a broken egg.
But that's an Atlas game.
And he's got like a little world inside the egg.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, after each turn of that fight, you have to break open the egg that he will heal at some point to get him to his weak state. But every time he gets back up, things like people spawn in there, like little goblins spawn in there. You have to kill.
Civilization in there. You're like, this is deforestation. You're destroying ecosystems.
Yeah. So the second type of enemy is humans. We'll talk about that later. You find out pretty quickly. You meet your contact. Of course, your contact dies. In the process of being your contact, you meet your first party member, Stroll, who is of a different race. He's from the tribe of... I pulled him up, and we're going to talk about tribes in a little bit, too. He's from the Clamar tribe. Their main characteristic, they look like regular people, but they have horns coming from their head. Just like either tiny horns, some have bigger horns. Clamar tribe people have horns. Elden people look like you and me. Normal ass people, but people with no defining features. People think they're bad luck, and there's so few of them. You rarely see them. You only see 3 Eldas throughout the entire game. Anywho, first person you meet is Stroll, who will eventually learn of what your plan is, even though you're trying to keep it secret, and join you on your adventure. The entire adventure is just revolved around you then entering what is now the race to become king, because the king has placed magic to let the people decide who the king is, because at that point the king does think his son is dead, that the prince is dead. Only very few people know that the prince is not dead. So you join that race to become king so you can save the prince, defeat the main villain Luis, and then have the prince become king. Right?
Sure.
Now, that's enough story beats we'll talk about for now until major spoiler. Yes.
I'm looking at a photo of your companions.
Okay.
I like I guess I can't complain or like praise the game because I haven't played it and I know nothing about it. I wish they committed more to like making these things look non-human. Like you're the guy you said the first companion stole who has the horns.
Stroll,
I'm seeing
Stroll.
The horns. Stroll, is that it? Stroll. Yeah. I'm seeing the horns. They are like sad little gray horns that blend in with his gray hair. Like he really just looks like a human. I wish they had made that. Maybe this is just because I'm playing Dragon Age and they have Kunari, which are like kind of the same concept, like humanoid with horns. But like, make them look. The elf just has big ears. Make them look more non-human.
Once again, there is a reason, and you're right. There is a reason behind it.
But is it like a good reason?
Yes.
Or was it like we didn't want to make things that actually? It
is. I can't believe I'm going to say it, but it's literally the right word. It is a metaphor.
It's a metaphor, Hazel Grace. You put the killing thing between your teeth, but you don't give it the power to kill you.
The game called Metaphor Refantazio has a lot of metaphors in it. Let's quickly go over the companions and and the different races, because
I'd also like to know why every Atlas game has like a small dark-haired boy, and then the first companion you always get is like a blonde boy. Like, why did your little Why does your little man always need a big blonde friend to protect him?
This is what I like about Metaphor, and its messaging, of course, is like you learn there's a lot of racism in the world against all the different tribes, et cetera, et cetera. And each of your party member is somebody from a different tribe. Like you pretty much have no duplicates, which is a very nice thing to think about. So the first party member you get, his name is Stroll. He's part of the Clamar tribe, the most respected tribe. They're essentially the straight white men of the game. They're
He
the
looks like it.
Yeah, they're the most abundant. They have horns. They don't really talk about sexism. That's like the one thing they never really mention in this game, is any sexist things. But I think that's fine. They tackled a lot of issues, and I think they did good where they did. With racism, inequality, etc. So this is the most common. A lot of this tribe, the king was a Clamar. A lot of the nobles are Clamar. A lot of the heads of the church, with the exception of some, are Clamar. There's just a lot of characters that are in this group, and they are generally well respected and feared at the same time.
Can I ask? This isn't a Metaphor specific thing.
Yeah.
What is it with fantasy games? Like, this extends to D&D, this extends to Dragon Age, this extends probably to Skyrim. I haven't played Skyrim, so I don't know. What is it with fantasy games? They're like, we're going to have so many different, like, of these cool species. Can't wait to introduce racism. Can't wait for it. I'm going to make everybody hate each other.
I mean, for this game specifically, it makes sense. Like, that's a major theme.
No, I mean,
ones,
it's a major thing in most of the games. Like, it's not like they just toss it in there for the sake of tossing it in there, or even Mass Effect. Mass Effect has a lot of that too. It's
Lord of the Rings.
It's like they all make it like make sense, and they all make it relevant, and they all make it this huge plot point and like the thing. But like, it's always like, why is this the first thing we go to?
Because
like you could not have said something less shocking to me than like, there's actually a lot of racism, because like, if there's a game with an elf in it, I can absolutely believe there's going to be. It's like they go hand in hand. Elves and racism, they have to exist in every single piece of media together.
It's an allegory for the real world.
It usually is the thing. Like, I mean, I'm not saying Metaphor like shouldn't have done it, or I'm not saying they did it poorly, but I'm saying like it's a very common trope to have these things. And
the more important question that I asked when I started playing Final Fantasy 16 even is that why is every game set in a fantasy world done with people with British accents? Literally. You cut out. You were so loud that Discord didn't pick you up.
It's always British accents. My character in Dragon Age Inquisition and in Dragon Age Veilguard both have British accents.
What's insane about this one is that, yes, every character is either British, Irish, or Scottish, except for people from the Elda tribe. They all have American accents or Canadian accent, like, you know, what we consider normal.
That's funny.
It's insane.
I feel like they think it makes them sound like more posh. And they want like elves and whatnot to sound very sophisticated and posh, so they give them the British accents. But I don't know.
Is Warcraft American? I haven't played Warcraft, so I don't know anything about that. But that's insane. That
is interesting. I like that they spice it up, because like, you're so right. If I could put a recipe for a fantasy game together, there's three things I'm gonna put in there. It's gonna be elves, it's gonna be British accents, and it's gonna be racism. And I can mix that pot together, and you can throw whatever kind of seasonings you want in there. You can throw I guarantee you, those are like the base of every fantasy game.
I just want to hear, I am a French elf. Let's go to the next tribe and your next companion. The Razant tribe, which Emily compared just a second ago to elves, in which she would be wrong. There is an elf tribe, but I know it's the long pointy ears, but we'll go over that in a second, why it's not them. The Razant tribe has some elf characteristics, such as their tall, large stature.
Giant ears.
Yeah, yes, and the pointy ears. The Razant tribe are very, very strong individuals. A lot of them run the military because they're big people. They are big, burly people. Hulkenberg is probably one of my favorite companions. Not in the sense of, if there was romance options in this game. Huh?
Her name is Hulkenberg?
Hulkenberg.
Incredible. Okay, thank you.
Not in the sense that, she's my romance option. She's like my best friend option. as one of my favorite companions, because she straight up is just like, oh shit, new food, I'm down. She's very funny. I wouldn't say that she is the comic relief, because every character has their own comic relief stuff, but she has the most like relatable lines, and I just relate to her in so many ways. Olgenberg is dope.
I like her.
Yeah, no, she's awesome. She's awesome. The next is the least looking human tribe. I'll scroll down while I say this. They more resemble bats slash squirrels. They are the Ujif tribe. They have long ears. They have bat-like wings.
Oh, see, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I want.
Yeah, you have two tribes that are kind of like this. The other one still looks more human than this, but this is like the farthest you get. They're very, very fast. They're very nimble. They have great hearing.
Look at those ears.
Yeah, exactly. They are not very liked because they are, they generally live in small tribes. They're generally bullied. People try to take advantage of them. Some of them are smart and are able to get away from it. A lot of them close themselves off from the world. But this is Heisme. This specifically is your companion.
To be a sugar glider?
Huh?
Is he just meant to be a sugar glider?
A bat slash sugar glider. Like, it's a good mix of the two.
Yeah.
Heisme has probably my favorite side story out of all the characters. It's very deep. It's very sad. He's an old wise man, even though he doesn't look like it. He looks like a very small thing. He's a great character. He's awesome.
He's my favorite so far.
He's wonderful. Cool. Next, we're going to move into the Nidia tribe.
Wait, I have something really important to say.
Yes.
Your hair might grow like crazy. Try this.
What? L'Oreal?
He can do it. He can do it.
What do you mean?
Play this for 1 minute and see why gamers are hooked.
What? Doctors hate him for this one simple trick. I don't know what you're doing right now.
Share some important facts that I'm telling you because we're telling our audience these things, and I just wanted to point them out.
What are you talking about? Please help me.
Yeah, Casey, build your website your way.
Oh, goodness. Is this a Squarespace ad?
Yeah, look at the ads next to the Squarespace ad.
Oh, I didn't even notice. Golly, that sucks. Especially this one's egregious. This one's just, that's just bad. That's just
We've
bad.
been looking at it for a while.
I hate ads. Well,
anyway, this lady's hair is amazing.
The Nidia tribe is probably going to be one of your favorites. So the Nidia tribe are known for essentially their beauty. They have long, flowing hair.
Sure.
They have incredible. This is not a good picture of Juna, your companion.
Great photo of her. She looks great. Look at her hair.
You get to see her eyes now. Like this is her eyes, for example. Like they're insane. Wow. They're very colorful, very good looking.
I don't know if I like looking at her eyes. They look like she had normal blue eyes, and then like a toddler found a photo of her and was like, I like purple, and scribbled some purple on top of it.
This is what you need to know about the Nidia tribe specifically, though, is that they are known to wear masks for what they really are. This is not their real form. Their real form are these tiny little things that they can transform to look like real people into like very, very real, beautiful people. They're actually these very tiny things.
Burn it. I hate it. Burn it.
You only see for 2 seconds. You see for 2 seconds.
No, I need to pull up the image next to the one you're on right now, where he's looking at her, so I can get. No, go back.
I already got rid of it before you said that.
Shift Control T.
I got it. Hold on.
I need to look at the photo next to the one
where your main character is looking at her.
Yes. So I can get this height.
It's short.
Burn it.
Yeah.
I'm uncomfortable. I don't like him.
Yeah, the whole thing is that the Nidia tribe have true forms, and they hide it behind these beautiful people, but they can transform at their own whim. So essentially, what they look like is their real form, because there's no limit to looking like that. But they're known to have different forms. People know them as being fake and wearing masks. If
you look at that and you're like, you're secretly a little baby.
Which incredibly, her main archetype is the mass dancer, which I'll go into archetypes later and why I really like the archetype
We can do
system.
the next two because I've been looking at him and I would like to know more.
Yeah, the Parapus is the next one that is the least human looking, but still kind of human looking. The second least human, other than the Ujif.
He looks pretty dang human to me.
Yeah, I mean, so all the Parapus have tails and have either like rabbit ears, cat ears, dog ears, whatever. They have a lot of animal characteristics to them.
Dream.
Huh?
He's every furry's dream.
Yes, they are the furry's dream. They are also probably one of the most abused tribes. The Parapus tribes are they are used for experiments in laboratories. They are made into slaves. They are not educated. They don't know how to read. They don't know how to write. They don't know how to do normal jobs. Recently, like in the game, they have pretty much been freed from some of them have been freed from slavery, but most of you run into are homeless. They are hungry. They don't have anything. They're very like, we need to eat the rich because they made our lives a living hell type race, and it's understandable.
Sure.
All of their accents are like Cockney English. The uneducated sounding English. And I think it fits very, very well for them, especially if you think like scientific testings. It makes sense given that, animal testings are like a real thing in the real world. This character specifically, Basilio, this one, G and I had been, this is slight spoilers, by the way. G and I had been like going back and forth, like, yeah, he's a companion before we even knew. He's the last companion you get, and I was afraid he was going to get Haru syndrome. He didn't. He didn't get. Yeah, they gave him a backstory.
I don't like Haru.
Basilio is one of the coolest characters. He's not a great party member. Like, he's not great to fight with, but as his side story and getting to know him and his personality is wonderful. He is great. Unsub, not here for the smut adverts.
Yeah, but no worry. Now we have we got rid of that one, and now we have Disney
Lorcana, the card game.
What is Lorcana? Sorry, we don't need to know that. We don't care.
That is a thing. The Ishkia tribe. This is one of your party members who's not in your party. They drive what you ride called the Gauntlet Runner. They're essentially your navigator in this game, even though they don't really tell you anything about in dungeons. The Ishkia tribe is known just for having these wings on their back. The wings are not functional. They can't fly with them, but they grow wings and they, wrap around their bodies. And they're just really pretty to look at. They are the second least common group in the whole game. But they're regarded as some of the smartest people in the entire, anybody in the Ishkia tribe. They're engineers. They're brilliant. They're great scientists.
He looks like, he's really tall, but he looks like the uncle or grandpa from Wind Waker.
He does. You know what? You're right. He does. I didn't even think about that. In this game, he's your nicer version of Sojiro to some extent. Think of like Sojiro if he was a scientist. Yeah.
I like it.
He's great. He's wonderful. You have the Roag tribe, which is the most like actual elves. They have the shorter pointy ears. They don't have super long pointy ears. They have shorter pointy ears. They're more like dark elves because they usually have darker type skin, and they are known to live forever. They never die. They do eventually die, but they live such a very long time. And just like the Clamar tribe, they're very high regarded. They take up most of the kingdom and the church.
Okay.
This is right here. His name is Grius. He is your party member for 5 minutes at the beginning of the game, and that's all I will say.
Oh, he dies.
Yeah. It's not immortality. They do die at some point.
They just live a lot longer.
Two more to go. We're almost there.
Funny.
There are. This is the Mustari tribe. The Mustari tribe are like island people. They live secluded on their own separate island. They have their own beliefs. They're separate from the church.
It's Zelda.
Yeah, kinda. They're separate from the church. They're separate from. They are still part of the kingdom and still part of the country, but they are generally not touched. They have their own set of beliefs. They're very traditional in what they have seen in their temples. and everything like that. The Mistari tribe in the game believes that they have a priestess who's always meant to be sacrificed to appease the dragon god, which eventually in this game we prove is wrong, and they read those slates wrong. They're known for having a third eye on their head, and that third eye is able to it's able to see something called Magla. Magla is the magic energy in this game, essentially. What?
Someone in chat said, "Is that cloak like sponsored or something?" And I looked and realized it is the Target logo.
It is not. If there was a romanceable character, Yufa would be my romanceable character. She's also the summoner. This is shockingly for an Atlas game. If you think when you played Persona 5, well, I guess you really only played Persona 5 and like 5 minutes Persona 3 and 5 minutes Persona 4. The Atlas's like mascot is Jack Frost, the little cute little blue monster that summons ice. They don't give you any of those normal like iconic Atlas summons until you have her and she's the summoner, and you can summon Jack Frost, Black Frost, all the things, all the personas you saw in Persona that is carried over from Shin Megami Tensei as well. But yeah, no, the Mistari tribe is she's very innocent. She doesn't, because she's never left her island. She doesn't know anything about the world. Yeah, most in the Mistari tribe do not leave their island. Those who do are really shunned upon because they're outsiders. She doesn't understand handshake because it means something different to her. She's very inquisitive. She's a great character, and I loved her. We already talked about the Elder Tribe is what you are. You have no discernible characteristics. You are the chances of seeing an Elda are like the chances of winning the lottery. You will almost never see one. There are so few of them. At one point, their village was burned down. But you are one of those characters.
Is very on par for like a lot of anime games or JRPGs, I guess I should say, instead of anime games. Or like even visual novels to be like, you play the only boring man on Earth. Congratulations. It makes me think of like Danganronpa, where they're like, you go to a special school where everybody has a super secret, really cool ability, and you play no one. You play the man without a talent. Congratulations. It's what you've always wanted, to play the most mediocre man on Earth.
That's true.
You want to play as the special fairy? No. You wanted the boring man, right?
Yeah.
Exactly what I wanted. You want this sad little man. Yes. Thank you. That's what I ordered in my fantasy video game.
Finally, just like in real life, how there are people who are very racist against them. One of the most hated groups are what they call half-bloods. They are what? I'm making the metaphors cross.
Did you say like in real life where people are really racist against them? You mean like normal people?
No, I mean that racism persists a lot in this group, and it's sad and it's terrible in real life.
For what group?
For people who are mixed races or mixed tribe. It's the same with the game.
We're talking about the half-bloods. I asked you to scroll down. I thought you were still talking about our normal basic bitch of a man. And I was like, are you saying
granted, our normal basic bitch of the man, his tribe is hated the most.
No, but I thought you were saying like in real life. Like,
oh no. As a white man, I'm very no, I'm just kidding. It's not the case.
I was like, whoa, wait, what? No. All right, I see. Okay, we're here.
There's very few. I'm going to scroll because there is a slight spoiler there that I don't want you to see until later. There are a couple characters who are what they call half-bloods, meaning they are two different races. This one you see, man's name is Zorba. He is one of the first antagonists you fight. He's a mix between a Mustari and a Clamar. He has the third eye, but he also has a single horn. Cool. Another one you have one of your confidants, Maria, cute little girl. She is half Roag and half Ishkia, the people with the wings, and then the ones that live a long time. Grius, the guy I told you who's your companion for 5 minutes and then he dies. This is his daughter, and she's wonderful. So yeah. Generally, anybody who is of mixed tribes are generally looked down upon.
This game's really into the fair-haired, blue-eyed women. They've got about 4 of them.
Yes. Yes. uh, okay, so that has to do with races.
Blake, the suggestive ad is back. Twice. It's back
We're
twice.
done with it. We're done with this. We're done with this. Now
Here.
we're going to talk about the archetype system, and then we'll go into pros and cons. The archetype system is your main battle system. Just like in Persona, how you have to capture and switch between different personas. Everyone has something called an archetype. An archetype has different abilities. Example, you have the mage, which you would expect to use a lot of spells. You have the knight, who Hulkenberg is, a lot of supportive roles and also high attack. You have Stroll, who is the soldier, who is just very, very strong and powerful. It gets a lot of critical hits. Heisme specifically is the thief. Very, very sneaky, but very, very fast and high luck, able to steal things. You have Juna, who I already said is your mask dancer, who you can craft these things called masks and give her abilities of different archetypes without having to switch archetypes. We'll get into that later.
I mean, you can give her a persona.
And we're gonna jump into that in a second. You have then Yufa, who is the summoner, who summons different monsters to do her attacks for her, and they're more powerful than normal people using magic. And then finally, Basilio, the Parapus, he is your berserker, aka your barbarian. Super strong dude, really can dish out the hits. On top of that, all of your confidants unlock, as you level them up, they unlock other types of archetypes for you. There's not as many archetypes as there are personas in Persona. It's very nice. It's significantly easier to manage. On top of that, each archetype only has 20 levels. That's it. You get to level 20, you've mastered it. But they have branched off into more powerful versions of themselves. So the one you start with is something called the Seeker. And once you level up your, you know how you have Igor as your Velvet Room attendant in Persona? Yeah. You have a similar type character called Moore. As you level him up, you unlock more of the Seeker. So you have Seeker to Magic Seeker. I forgot the third stage's name, etc. So there's different stages to these ones you unlock as you do their confidants. And then that's another set of 20 levels. That's another set of skills you unlock. The best part about this is, and I mentioned this last time, and I remember I told you this, every time, if I want to use Stroll to hit hard, but I don't want him to be a soldier, I want him for some reason to be a knight, or I want him to be the brawler, which uses their fists, or I want him to be the berserker and hit hard that way, I can switch their archetypes on the fly. They are not destined to what you have. Now, obviously, certain ones will work better than others. Stroll is going to work better for the ones that hit harder, and to do more damage because he is a strength-based character. However, if I'm like, I want him to be a mage for some reason, I can do that. I am not locked into that, and I like that because I can change things on the fly.
There's more player choice and there's more customizability in how you.
Exactly, and it is so nice to play around with. You have characters like Yufa and Juna, who are very, very magic heavy, who, you know, I can switch around to different magic-based roles based on what I want to do. And then this is where Atlas got like, hey, we're going to pay homage to our other games that we love. So the Masked Dancer, I told you, was Juna's first stage. The second stage, as you level her up, she only has 2 stages for hers. She becomes the Persona Master, is the second stage. The Summoner, second stage is the Devil Summoner, which is another Atlas IP, is Devil Summoner. Digital Devil Summoner Saga. Oh, right. The Seeker, I said the second is Magic Seeker. The third is Soul Hacker, which is another Atlas property, is the Soul Hacker. They have a bunch of those kind of scattered in. And it's like, okay, this is a great homage to your other works, and they kind of tie into what that archetype is. And what an huh?
No, go ahead. Finish what you're saying. Yeah.
And the reason archetypes are important, you are the only group who can use archetypes. No one else can. Most people who want to use magic have to use these things called igniters. They're little, like, think of them like pieces of jewelry you wear, then you can actually use magic that way. These archetypes, because you've unlocked them, just kind of like how you've unlocked a persona. You pull your heart out and you scream into your heart that's now a microphone. You have an archetype. That is your way to use magic, and you unlock them. Each character you get does it persona, unlocks it persona style. So they are unique based off your characters. Okay. And it is...
It's similar. It's similar to Persona, but it's different enough.
Exactly. Like
it is kind of feels like a really good way to summarize this game. Like, so for someone, say, who's listening, I know you mentioned you want to go into your pros and cons, and I think we can definitely add, because we talked about your pros and cons a bit in the last one, but I want to kind of go into, if somebody has played, what's the combat style like? Because you've mentioned the archetypes. Is it still turn-based? What are the dungeon styles like? Is it like you still take 2 to 3 characters with you and you like can do like the standard dungeons, or what is the gameplay and the combat style like?
All your questions are yes and no. So let's start from the beginning. Is it turn-based? It is turn-based, and it's also not turn-based. They do something wonderful where in the main world, if you run into an enemy that's on the main world, you can either do real-time combat with them, so you keep hitting them. If you are higher level than them, it automatically defeats them. You don't go to turn-based combat. You don't have to waste resources. It's just over with. If they're the same level...
And Persona as well, right?
You have to unlock an ability in Persona 5 for that to happen.
This is just natural. It
correct.
Just happens.
Correct. And there's no real-time combat. You still have to sneak up on them in Persona and then pull off their mask. And you can still get hit by weaker enemies, but it does like 2 HP. It's whatever. For medium level enemies, yes, you start with real-time combat, or you can bypass it altogether. It benefits you to start with the real-time combat because you hit them and you can put them in a stun state, and then it will ask you to go into squad mode. Squad mode can be accessed anytime you are near an enemy and they're in your vision, and you just press triangle, and that automatically puts you into turn-based mode. But if you if you get them in that stun mode, you essentially get 2 rounds of turns without them being able to hit you. And you want to do that with the medium level enemies and your higher level enemies. For both those, though, if they hit you at all, then you automatically go into squad mode at a disadvantage, and they start attacking you first and foremost.
So there's a definite advantage to the sneaking.
Correct. The sneaking is not as prominent, but there is dodge mechanics, and it's good to get around.
How long would you say the prologue? So if somebody was thinking about picking up this game, how long would you say the prologue is? How long does it take to get into the game and get into the groove of it? Because I think one of the biggest complaints that I and like a lot of people have is like Persona 5, for example, is like a 6-hour prologue essentially.
It didn't take me long. The demo. When people first started playing the demo, it took them 5 hours. It took me about 3.5 to get through it before we started getting into more story and to understanding. But getting through that initial thing, it really wasn't that bad. It doesn't feel like a prologue. They did a good job this time of it not making it feel like it is a tutorial. It's a tutorial and they're teaching things, but it doesn't necessarily feel like that.
You don't feel like, because I remember a big feeling for me in Persona 5, like I started it twice, I was like, I have no idea what's going on. Like they're talking about palaces. I don't get what that means. We've been here for 5 hours and I still don't understand what they're saying to me. Obviously you get into the groove of it, and with like 100+ hour game, that's not a huge deal that the first few hours are slow, but it can make it hard for people to get into. So do you think this one's pretty easy to get into? And if so, like how easy is it to get into if somebody's never played a Persona game before?
It's easier to get into than Persona. Because especially for people who like, this game is still very story heavy, but they don't do a lot of the holding your hand and repeating things over. There are some repeating, but it's not nearly as egregious. And the dungeons are just more enjoyable. I mentioned this last week. The worst part of Persona 5 is Mementos by far when it comes to dungeon exploration. Instead of doing randomly generated rooms that all look the same and are boring, each dungeon is different and it's perfectly designed. There are hidden passageways. There are treasures to find. The dungeons are fun. You always have a party of 4 with you, and you can bring them and change them based on the specific situation. You can plan for the situation. There are in each tavern there is something called the information gatherer. I forgot their name, but you can pay them money to get information on a bounty you're going after or a specific type of monster. Or even just information on the town. So you can make plans for how to do it. Obviously, I play on easy mode, so I said screw all that, and I just go in swinging. So I think
What are you collecting in all of the dungeons? Because I know in Persona it's the you got to get the treasure to like whatever, but what is the goal of the dungeon in
each one's different.
Metaphor?
So it's not like Persona where we're doing each palace to steal someone's heart. It's not like Persona 4 where I'm trying to solve this murder. It's not like Persona 3 where I'm trying to solve the mystery of the Midnight Hour. This one, each specific dungeon has this different goal in mind. So, get an example. The first dungeon is the royal capital is like in disarray because the king is dead. That one character I showed you that is half Mustari and half Clamar, he is trying
Yeah.
to steal the royal scepter, and your goal at the beginning is just to stop him because nobody else knows he's in there, and no one else going to try to stop him. Like that's your first goal. Your second goal is just to find. This is where you find Heisme. You're like, okay, well, to be able to get noticed, so I can try to become king and become more popular, is to find a giant bounty, and that's where you find Heisme, who's initially listed as a giant bounty, and you find out he's not the real bounty. He's not the real villain here, right?
Yeah.
Each of them are different, and there's a different goal, which is another thing.
So you're not like collecting like, to throw back to Zelda or something. You're not collecting medallions or like Triforce shards or personal treasures or anything like that. You're just what fits the narrative at the time. Okay,
Exactly.
that's interesting.
Which makes it better because I don't feel like it's getting stale at any point.
Yeah. It's not super repetitive.
Here's the one thing I think is majorly different too. I already mentioned Mementos. I already mentioned each dungeon is different. There are multiple mini dungeons too because side quests mostly. Some of the side quests are like, hey, go back to this town and get me a toothbrush, and those take 2 seconds or whatever. Who cares? But there are other ones that are like, hey, on this weird island that you would not have gone to otherwise, there's this monster there, and he's holding this specific item that I can make into this valuable thing and, grow my business. Or this medicine that this cave has is going to save my wife. And you're going to a new dungeon, and you're seeing new different monsters. Usually a boss battle at the end. You find secret treasures in all of them. Some of those treasures are damn mimics that drive me nuts. But there's always something different based on what you're going to do. And some of those do have like 2 quests attached to them. One of the coolest things, one of the dungeons actually has a side quest and it's your main dungeon that you're going into. And that's the first time I saw that. It's like, oh, hey, if you're going there anyways, I dropped 3 of these things there. If you find them, that's great. I'm like, great. That's an easy side quest to knock out while I'm doing my other stuff. I thoroughly enjoyed how the side quests and the separate dungeons were handled.
And they like lined up with one another. So
Correct.
would you recommend this over a Persona 5 game? If somebody's never played an Atlas game before and they were like, I really want to get into the Atlas game, where should I start? Would you recommend
this question?
Or would you recommend like they start with a Persona 5 or a Persona 4 or 3 Reload now? What would your like Atlas introduction be for a new player?
This is where it's hard because they're all so different. If you're strictly action, no matter what, you're not like, I gotta know, there's some story to it. Ghost Shin Megami Tensei, they're not for me. They're also super difficult. They're like the Dark Souls of JRPGs, in my opinion. They're hard. If you like more of the slice of life side of things, then Persona is your go-to. 3, 4, and 5 are all solid choices. If you like a good, healthy mix, I think Metaphor is a perfect mix of both. There's a lot more action in Metaphor than there is in Persona, but there's also a good amount of slice of life. There's companions, there's people you meet, there's a good chunky story in there that I really enjoyed. Which is why I told you, and this might be recency bias, but it might be better than Persona, which is nuts to me. I don't want to say that though, because they are different. That
is such high praise.
I really want you to play it at some point too. I know, but it's not going to happen anytime soon because you have a lot going on.
It's not going to happen anytime soon. It's definitely something that, like it's one of the, you own a physical copy, I know that. So if that's something you put on my shelf one day, I will absolutely play it. I still do, however, have Persona 3 I have to get through as well.
Yeah. This game only took me 70 hours, and that's listening without skipping all the story and dialogue and everything.
Wow, that's actually pretty quick.
Yeah, some people spent more. Some people, like our good friend G, who grind like crazy. It took him much longer, but he's a self-proclaimed loop goblin.
That certain people can grind in their sleep, literally.
Yeah.
So
I'm not that way. I got
I'm
through.
not a grind. I hate the grind. I hate if you're like go level up 5 levels by fighting enemies. It's so
I
boring to me.
I will say grinding is not as tedious in this game. Grinding is relatively. It's not even. It's by the time I bought all the enemies in a dungeon that I was going to anyways, that are like a mini dungeon. Like I gained all the levels I wanted to. It's not like I had to go out of my way to level up more. The only time I felt like there was a challenge and I needed to grind more was the final boss, because there was a massive difficulty spike that comes out of nowhere.
So I guess I don't want to like cut you off or like
Yeah.
anything like that, but wrapping up because I know was there anything in the pros and cons you didn't talk about last week? If you didn't see our episode last week, Blake did talk about a lot of his pros and cons there. That will go kind of hand in hand in this one. But is there anything that you didn't get to talk about last week in terms of pros and cons, or any last things you want to mention about it?
Nothing crazy. I did enjoy the end of the story. I thought the end of the story was good. There's an awesome cutscene. There's a lot more anime cutscenes in this one, which are things I looked forward to in Persona. This one there's had a lot more of them. There's a really cool action one that felt, without spoiling, but kind of it felt Gundam like, and it was sick as hell. It was so awesome. There is, but cons. I mean, the biggest one. MP management, I would argue, is harder in this than it is in Persona, because at least in Persona, every week I could go to a vending machine and buy MP items, even though it's just 5 to 20 MP. This one, it's 3 per major city, and there's only 5 major cities, and you have to find the rest in dungeons by defeating specific enemies, and that is where the grind came in.
Frustrating.
In New Game Plus, it has not affected me as much because it's New Game Plus and I'm beefed up with the best weapons. And even though you start at level 1 still, I have the best weapon, 1 hit and they're dead. Like, it doesn't matter. I think I'm already in the 3rd town 10 hours later, skipping all the dialogue and just doing side quests. Like, it's insane how quickly it's going.
Why are you doing New Game Plus? What does New Game Plus offer?
The platinum. There's platinum to get things I missed. But most importantly, there is a super boss. If you... Okay. And I have to fight that super boss. That is important. Mainly, it's the main reason too. Like, normally I'll just grind up and do the super boss, but no, I have to do all the side quests because I missed 2 side quests and 2 map items. Oh, last thing in the pros, and then I'll give it a final rating, and then I can do 2 seconds of big spoilers unless you don't want that. You know what? I'm not going to because I want you to play it. Fuck the big spoilers.
Okay. Oh yeah, I'm gonna play it. I don't want the spoilers.
Yeah. Which I'll bring my copy once I platinum it. I'm gonna try to platinum it before I see you next month.
Okay, but just know if you bring me your copy when you come at Christmas, it is gonna be shelved. I don't want to hear about it.
I know you still have to play. You still haven't played the 30-hour game I gave you a year ago.
I know. It's been a busy season.
It has been a busy season. The other pro, one thing I really like, as you're traveling to different areas, to different dungeons, because you have something called a gauntlet runner. It's not you're instantly at the dungeon. Things take time. Some dungeons take 2 days to get to, some take 3, some only do take 1. But the nice thing about it is you're not wasting calendar days like you feel like you are in Persona when certain things happen. If you're on that gauntlet runner, you can raise one of your your royal virtues, which your royal virtues are your social stats in Persona. You can do that by reading a book. You can spend time with a party member. Some of them you can only do while you're on the gauntlet runner. You can use the bathroom and gain luck if you're lucky.
You get 1 action and then it's bedtime.
Yeah, you get an action. Even the best part is in Persona, if you go to a dungeon, you don't get that action at all. You go to a dungeon, you go to nighttime until you unlock Kawakami, which... ick. But in this one, you always have an action before the dungeon. If you decided you don't finish the dungeon and you camp out there and you go to finish that either mini dungeon or main dungeon the next day, you get a bonus action that night. But most times, if you go back to town, you go to sleep, which is fine. I never felt like they were running out of time. But the big pro of this is that, it's going to take me 2 days to get there. I do the action. But sometimes on paths to places you're going, there are special scenes. They're look at this cool thing we found in the world. It truly because of course you're trying to learn about this world you're going to rule eventually, or you're going to have the prince rule. You learn about the different cool places in the world. There's one where this you're in the ocean and there's this random spot where the ocean is a giant hole that's dry, but there's water all around this sand pile. and you stand in it, you look at it with your party, and there's another one with a giant sandworm corpse that you just stand by. You're like, this has been here for thousands of years. There's a group of waterfalls. You take in the beauty of the world that they've designed, even though you don't look around the area and they just show you a picture of it. Like it kind of like you feel like you're actually on a buddy road trip looking at things you see in the world, things you would do on a normal road trip. And I really it's some one of those small details that I really enjoy. They really try to flesh out and build the worlds and show the beauty and what it looks like a desolate, chaotic place. So that's a giant pro. Also, because I never mentioned them quickly, there are royal virtues. You have courage. Current president doesn't have that. Wisdom. Courage. New president doesn't have that. Wisdom. New president doesn't have that. Tolerance. New president doesn't have that. Eloquence. New president doesn't have that. Imagination. New president doesn't have that.
What are you saying?
Oh, you didn't hear any of that?
No, I heard you say the traits, and then you said new president doesn't have that. What does that mean?
New president doesn't have that.
What does that mean?
Emily, what happened earlier this week?
Oh,
courage.
I thought you were talking about in the game, man.
No. Courage.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. It's so true. It's so true, man. I lived in a world for a minute where everything was awful.
In Persona, it's your charm, your intelligence, your charisma.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one is courage, wisdom, tolerance, eloquence, and imagination. This is just like your
imagination.
It is your royal virtues, like things that all good leaders should have. Which I appreciate. Final notes. I gave this I forgot what I gave this rating last week. I'm going to give this. This is the official rating, and I'm sticking with this.
Oh.
Huh?
I'm giving you a drum roll.
9.4 out of 10. Which I think is the Metacritic score. It is incredible. It's tied for my game of the year right now. It's
with Astrobot.
I think this game might be nominated. That many people are loving it. It is.
I think it will be. I think it's been highly praised.
Shockingly, this is the fastest selling Atlas game of all time. Atlas has finally got their footing in with Persona 3 Reload and Metaphor. Like they're finally like getting the recognition. Good job, Sega, purchasing Atlas and making them explode like they had needed. Good job, Atlas.
Good job.
For creating great games. I mean, Atlas has created great games for a long time. We just were very late to the party. Let's be real.
That's true.
I just gotta get Emily to play Persona 3 and Persona 4 because I bought both of them.
Really long games, man. They're just really long games.
During the pandemic, it was easier to convince her to play 5 because it was the pandemic.
It was. We didn't have anything going on in our life. I also dropped like 1,000 hours in Animal Crossing, so. Also, like Dreamlight Valley is dropping a DLC in 12 days.
I won't be there.
I will be there. We're gonna get Flynn Rider. I'm gonna get to reunite him with Rapunzel. There's a lot going on.
On that note, please subscribe on the YouTube channel, and on the Twitch channel. Both of them, please get us to stardom at some point. Second, follow our individual Twitches. She's Emily Jean 33, and she's streaming more, kind of.
And we just recently finished Silent Hill 2. At some point, I am going to be doing some indie horror games. I know I promised those a while ago.
Things happen, guys. Give her a break.
It's been rough. But we're gonna stream some indie horror games, and then if people are interested, maybe I'll stream the new Dreamlight Valley DLC. And who knows? We got a lot of games coming up. Actually, my gaming plate is getting a little bit lighter.
Mine is. I got one more. I'm at the last one. I'm at the last one for the year, and that I'm gonna stream with my brothership.
Was this my last one for the year?
It wasn't going. We both had one more after this, and that got pushed.
Yeah, so this is my last one for the year. Tune in next week. I will be talking about Dragon Age: The Veilguard, and I'm so excited to talk about it. I have so many thoughts. I'm having such a fun time with it, so I can't wait. I can't wait to tell you guys all about it next week. So come hang out with us then, and we'll talk about it. If you're playing Dragon Age: The Veilguard, come chat with me. I want to hear about what character you made. I want to hear what race you chose. I want to hear who you romanced. Please. It's been such a big talk of the town with me and my friends about who are romancing. So come chat with me about it.
Also, come follow me, twitch.tv/The Bearded Blake Show. Sunday, I will start Brothership, and then every Tuesday and Monday and Tuesday, I will be continuing Final Fantasy 16, and then Wednesday I'll be here with Emily. Except for this time, this is a Friday, and this feels weird.
This
I
is a
don't have
Friday.
to work
Listen, guys,
tomorrow.
it was a rough week. We needed that Wednesday. We were not mentally ready to be here and to talk about video games. Blake could, if we had been here on Wednesday, Blake would have been like struggling to talk about Metaphor, and I would have been like head in hands, zoned out.
We would
like,
be saying
not,
things we probably regret.
we were not here on Wednesday and not ready to be in front of cameras talking about video games. We love them. We love video games. We love talking to you guys, but
that being said, drop all the follows, play Metaphor, highly recommend it. I will convince Emily to play Metaphor. I might actually push you to play Metaphor before you play Persona 3, but
we'll do a switch, man. When you're here in December, you give me Metaphor, I'll give you Dragon Age of Veilguard.
I have to play Inquisition first.
Yeah, you can. You don't have to.
But now I want to because you praise Inquisition so much.
I did really like Inquisition. Yeah, it's you know what? We'll talk about Inquisition next week too. So
yeah,
we'll talk about lots of Dragon Age next week.
I might convince you to play this before Persona 3, but we'll see. I might convince you because it's a prettier game. No, they're the same graphics. What am I talking about?
Yeah, I was gonna say they are the exact same.
Crazy
I've seen them; they're the exact same.
I did buy the DLC. They Atlas always does cosmetic DLC day one, and this DLC was like, if you buy this, you get the school uniforms for the Persona 3, 4, and 5. I paid $5 a piece for them. But the main reason I did it, if you have them for New Game Plus, I get to, if I get into a preemptive strike or I stun them, I get to hear that game's battle music, but only if I get the advantage. So like if I'm wearing the Persona 5 gear, I hear the Persona 5 battle music and level of screen besides the point. So whenever...
Oh, speaking of DLC...
real quick, and then we'll go to that. The reason I'm speaking about it is because I did have the Persona 3 ones, and so when you're wearing the Persona 3 outfit, it looks like you're playing Persona 3. It is the same character.
What is it with these games and making like tiny little blue-haired anime boys?
It's only 2 that and for some reason Fire Emblem engaged.
Suichi. Or Danganronpa V3. Suichi.
Oh yeah.
The saddest blue-haired boy on earth.
Yeah, stupid hat. Go on. Anyways, you were saying, speaking of DLC.
Speaking of DLC, if you are like me and you played Star Wars Outlaws, there is a DLC wildcard coming out this month. I don't know if I know the exact date off the top of my head, but I think it's coming out in a week or two. So if you're interested, stay tuned for that. They also did just get a new creative director. So there might be some updates and changes coming to the game pretty soon. So if you were interested in playing it but had some qualms with it, maybe give it a try. They might be adding some patches and updates.
November 21st. Is the
21st. Great. I can't wait to get the Dreamlight Valley DLC on the 20th and then get this DLC on the 21st.
Oh, there's going to be a couple. So if you get
they already have a few planned.
Yeah, if you get the season pass, you'll get a Pirate's Fortune story pack, day one exclusive mission Jabba's Gambit, Kessel Runner character pack, Hunter Legacy cosmetic bundle, and Cartel Ronin cosmetic bundle. I don't know.
I bought this game. So like when I purchased this game, because I was planning on playing it and reviewing it, I just bought a digital copy. Now that it's one of my top games of the year, I definitely am going to be going back and purchasing the Ultimate Edition, probably physical.
We're going to have to discuss what we think our game of the year is relatively soon.
Coming. End of the year is coming. And on that note, friends, I think that's where we're going to end podcast for the evening.
Go hit all the buttons. Go tell your mom and dad about us. I'm sure they'll love to hear about us. I love your beautiful faces.